Hi, welcome to Dreams for Society, where we imagine, visualize, and create. I'm your host, Lisa Hayes, and I welcome you to visit our website at www.dreamsforsociety.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please get a hold of me at lisa@dreamsforsociety.com if you're interested in being interviewed. And if you're also interested in another service I provide, I do life coaching. I'm an intuitive transformational life coach, and I incorporate some healing modality, instantaneous healing modality, if we'd like to co-create that. And you can reach me for my coaching at lisa@dreamsforyoucoaching.com and my website, www.dreamsforyoucoaching, or just email me at the dreamsforsociety.com if you're just interested in the coaching as well. So Lisa at Dreams for Society is the big thing to remember here. And I am so excited again that you're joining us, because today we have a beautiful, young, successful entrepreneur. She is a health coach, certified health coach, and her niche is health and wellness for women. And you can find her at Richter, Richter, healthandwellness.com. And I love the fact that your name has rich in it, because I want to be rich in health and wellness. Yeah. But before we get to all of your beautiful gifts and talents that I will mention, her niche is for women's health and wellness. And you do all kinds of coaching with autoimmune, thyroid, adrenal, hormonal balance, gut issues, any kind of chronic illnesses. I just love that it's an open gamut of things that may be challenging for us women, that may come into our lives from time to time, that you can help us with. And your niche, of course, is for women's health and wellness. Before we get to all your beautiful talents and gifts, share with us, Jackie, how you came to be passionate about health and wellness for women, and how you opened up your company.
Okay, absolutely. Well, first I want to thank you for having me today. I'm very blessed to be here and share a little bit about what I do. I started out just kind of recovering from my own health journey, I would call it. Yeah. And that started probably within the past 10 years. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, which was Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Mm. And then I found out a couple years after that it was Graves' disease in particular. Mm. And if anybody's not familiar with either of those, that is a condition where your immune system starts to attack the organs and cells in your own body. And basically what had happened is that I had mismanaged my stress for so long that my stress and cortisol levels were up here, and then everything else came crashing down. So that represented in a lot of different signs. I lost a lot of weight. I was having chronic panic attacks that were lasting for 24 hours or longer. There was a lot of depression and a lot of just negative emotions that surrounded that. My first step was to visit a normal MD and just kind of see, what's going on with me. And as I'm sure a lot of us have realized, all the emotional diseases and the diseases of the body that are not so apparent are harder for them to diagnose and treat. So a lot of the times what they'll do is they'll compartmentalize, and they'll say, if one person has this, then the same is going to work for somebody else that has the same symptoms. So I was put on a generic anti-anxiety medication and told that I had general anxiety disorder. I wasn't a big fan of that. And I always had the feeling that, there's a reason that my body was reacting this way. I don't just wake up one day and I have, an anxiety disorder. There's something underlying that's causing this. So that kind of started my own health journey, just trying to find what is the root cause of disease. And I did find it, and it is, where is your mental state? Where is your emotional state? How are you treating your body internally? So I began meeting a lot of other professionals that were interested in the more natural way of approaching disease management, and just trying to find why things are the way they are. So in particular, I was drawn to helping women because we deal with some very specific conditions that not all of society might deal with, especially emotionally. And I felt like a lot of the times that got swept under the rug and misdiagnosed or mistreated, and again, compartmentalized. So I was just very drawn to, what I had gone through myself. Also things like infertility and helping women to become pregnant when maybe they were told they couldn't, because usually, again, everything comes down to your mental state, your emotional state, and how that's reacting and manifesting into your physical body. So I started Richter Health and Wellness this past year and have started seeing clients professionally, and I see them in their home. I can also do remote sessions, so I can see pretty much anybody anywhere around the world that wants help.
That's great. And your certification, what does that all entail, and what kind of education have you received?
Sure. So I was certified through Dr. Sears Wellness Coaching, which was a 6-month program that I went through. It was very intensive. I studied children's health, adult health, and pregnancy health. And that allowed me just to get more of the coaching techniques that I needed to help progress people to discover for themselves what it is they needed.
Right.
So rather than telling someone, here's your diagnosis, here's your treatment, it was more prompting to ask questions and find, like I said, that root cause of disease.
Would you be open to a little play acting here?
Yeah.
That I think I'm going to do 2 different scenarios. I'm going to pretend that I'm in my mid-20s like you. Now we just conveyed her age. We just revealed it. But you can tell she's so beautiful and young. And I'm going to pretend that I'm in my mid-20s and I am just stressed out completely because it's been my dream to have children. And I can't get pregnant, so I have these huge fertility issues. So I ring you up on the cell phone now, not the old rotary phone that I grew up with. Seriously. And so I call you on my cell phone or I email you. I said, Jackie, I am beside myself. My husband and I cannot get pregnant. We've been trying now for 3 years. And I'm just so depressed. I'm so stressed out. All I think about day and night is, you have to bear with me, I'm now 25, okay? I've got to get pregnant, Jackie. I don't know what I'd do if I can't be a mom. Can you help me?
So the first thing that I would tell anybody is that I want you to accept that this is the way things are right now. This is what you're feeling, and that's okay. It's okay to process those feelings and react the way that you're reacting, because that is a very serious thing that we deal with, especially when it comes to fertility and someone that's really wanting to be pregnant. I mean, that is devastating to try for so long, and month by month you just keep getting more and more disappointed. So that's okay to feel that way, and you don't need to stifle those feelings. The other thing I need you to accept is that you are healed already. You can get pregnant. And we are going to help you to break down any of those barriers that are preventing that state. Because anybody's body is capable of being in proper homeostasis. It doesn't matter what chronic condition or terminal illness you may have. There is always the possibility for healing if you'll accept that.
Oh, Jackie, that sounds like fantasy, though, to me. I mean, how do I accept? I mean, all the traditional doctors are trying to get me on fertility drugs and... what is it, in vitro?
Yeah.
And do they still do that?
Yes, they do. Yeah, it's still very popular.
Okay. I mean, that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't have that kind of money.
Right.
But, and the fertility drugs make me gain weight, and I just feel out of balance, and taking my temperature every month or whatever, this is just crazy for me. And how do I do all that, Jackie, and accept my condition, my inadequacy, I'm a female. I'm supposed to be able to procreate. How could I'm identified now with not being able to have children? How am I going to let that go, Jackie? How am I going to do this? How can you help me?
So the big one here is, like you said, identifying. Are you identifying with your illness? Because a lot of us are. you are not infertility. You do not embody infertility. Yeah. As long as you're thinking that way, you are going to keep bringing that back to you, because what we're bringing in is what we're putting out. Okay. So if you're putting out, I'm infertile, I can't do this is what everyone's saying, that's what you're going to keep getting back. So the first thing, and a lot of people have a lot of trouble admitting that I am not my disease, or that I am healed already. Okay. So even if it feels silly, just say, my body is healed already. I am fertile. I am able to conceive. I can get through this. I'm not depressed. And you just have to start rewiring your brain into a healing state, because that's where it all starts, is in your brain. The other thing I noticed is you're talking about being out of balance. And that, again, is where everything starts, because the human condition is to want to put into order what was in chaos. So right now, you have your chaos in this situation would be the infertility, the depression, all these different drugs that you might be on. So what we want to figure out is, where is this emotional blockage coming from? So that's where I would want to start, is, looking into your emotional health, and then where we can go from there. Okay.
Now let's do something else. I just got popped in here. Let's go to the real me, but rewind. Okay, so I had 3 miscarriages. I have 2 children, and they're now beautiful age of 31 and 27, soon to be 32 and 28. It's hard to believe. So let's rewind, Jackie. Back when I was younger, I didn't get married until I was 28, and I got pregnant with my first child, though, on my honeymoon. The Hayeses had no issues. That's my maiden name. Took it back after I got a divorce. Okay, full disclosure here. The Hayeses had I have 3 sisters, had no issue with getting pregnant. I mean, we're like a fertility machine. And this is true life now. And, however, I'm the only one that had these miscarriage issues. I had 3 miscarriages in between my first child and my second. And so somehow along the road, I think that the stress caused the miscarriages. It was just devastating. Yeah. And the reason why I thought of this is because you mentioned letting go and just accepting. So after the 3rd miscarriage, and I really wanted a second child, I decided I'm just going to let this go, because I was trying to plan my pregnancies around my work schedule. I had a really busy work schedule between January and April, and I couldn't have children during that time. And I had my first child right in the middle of that time period in February. So I thought, I can't do that again. That was very stressful. Now I'm in a big law firm lobbying, and the session is in the Indiana session is between January and April, and I can't do that now. To have a child during the session would be devastating to my practice. And so I was stressed out about that too. And so I was trying to get pregnant during a certain amount of time. Or at least I was thinking that I didn't, whatever. I was letting go of the birth control during a certain amount of time. Right. And, it was just such a stressful time. Anyway, so I finally just said, forget it. I've had 3 miscarriages because I wanted 3 children within 2 years of each, And now it was 3.5, over 3 years now after my first child was born. And I was, forget it. Just let it go. So doggone it. I'll never forget it. I was in the restroom, still the same house. I was in the restroom taking a birth control, or a birth, what do you call it?
Pregnancy
test. And it was positive. And I came into the living room where my husband was, and my daughter was only like 3, I said, Kevin, I've got good news and bad news. He said, what? I said, well, the good news is I'm pregnant. And the bad news is I'm having this baby right in the middle of the session. But the real good news is that I'm not having a miscarriage. I was only like a week pregnant or whatever. And I knew I said, this is going to stick. Yeah. I don't know why I knew that. Yeah. But it was like, I just said, let go of the when and the how and the everything. So the bad news really for me was it was right in the middle of the session. Yeah. But the good news was it was going to happen, and it did. It was a beautiful pregnancy. I had a son, so I have a boy and a girl. The girl first and a son. But I went into that long diatribe because I wanted people to know that I did somehow just decide, forget it.
Yeah.
And just let this whole idea of when I should have a child and when I shouldn't. And, I had them both during the middle of February.
Of course.
Right in the middle of my peak season.
Yeah.
So, what did I do right?
Well, I would say, isn't that just the American condition to try to plan out our lives ahead of time? And that's something I don't think we're ever fully going to get rid of. I think, and with how hectic our lives are, there is a matter of planning that we like to put into things. And I'm never going to tell someone, don't plan, throw it all out the window and, see what happens. But there is, you have to get to that point where you are going to let go and you are going to let nature take its course, so to speak. Yeah. The other thing with miscarriages too is that is a natural process by our bodies, and while it is, it's not a happy thing to think about, there's a reason that did not come to pass. And that is your body's way of saying, this is not healthy for me right now, this is not healthy for the baby, and so we're going to try again at a different time. Which, not to say it makes it any easier, but it is a natural part of your body to do that. But yeah, it is, you have to get to that point mentally where you're going to let go and you are going to let the process begin. So once you can get to that point, and it is a very, it's something that you will feel. And it might not be overnight, it might be something that develops over time, but you will get to that point where you're realizing, okay, I'm letting go. This isn't stressing me out as much as it used to. Everyone has those triggers. So if you're not feeling those triggers as much anymore, that is the step to letting those things go. And then you will notice your progress at that point.
Well, that's so good. And I think it took 2 more miscarriages to get over the first devastating one when I was wearing pregnancy clothes and maternity clothes. It's hard. I can't even remember. It takes so long. Maternity clothes, I was 16 weeks, and I had to, went into the doctor's visit, and there was no heartbeat. And so I had to have a induced labor or whatever. So that was really tough. Yeah, hugely. I'm letting the audience know this because we all go through our issues and our trauma and dramas, but we can get over them, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I ended up having a beautiful pregnancy with my son. I stopped it at 2 because I was almost 34 when I delivered him, and I had the boy and the girl. So I thought, I'm very grateful for this. Now, let's do another play acting. So now I'm going to put a little actor's hat on. Actually, no. This is the one where I'm me now, so I don't have to do any acting.
Okay.
Actually, I do have to do a little acting because I'm post-menopause. I'm going to reveal that. And I never took any hormonal drugs or anything. I actually had a pretty easy segue. But back when I was in my early 40s, I went to my gynecologist and she said, did you know that menopause is a disease? And we need to put you on birth control for a couple years, and then we're going to put you on artificial hormone stuff. And I said, what? And I said, I feel so good now. So I said no to all that. Yeah. And then when I did go through menopause, I'm 61 now. I went through menopause at 56. I did have some heavy bleeding, but I didn't have any hot flashes. I still don't. But I think it's because of the way I eat and everything, and I've let go of a lot of stress. But let's pretend that I didn't do any of that. And let's pretend I'm going through menopause right now. And, perimenopause, I guess. And I'm just having a really bad time. Hot flashes in the middle of meetings. I'm just sweating to death, taking my coat off and putting it back on or whatever. I'm just a mess, Jackie. This menopause stuff, I don't want to get old. I'm done with that. Why can't I keep my periods even though I don't like the periods? It makes me feel young. And
Yeah.
Jackie, I am really having a tough time with this menopause. Can you help me?
Well, first of all, menopause is not a disease. It needs to be treated.
That didn't sound right to me either.
No, it is not a disease. And once again, that is a term that the Western Medical Society likes to use because they are very good at treating acute conditions. Mm-hmm. And there is a place for Western medicine. It serves a purpose, but it is not in the long-term natural processes of the body or more chronic conditions. It's really not very useful. I will say I'm not against medication. I'm not against pharmaceuticals. There is a purpose, but it is a very specific purpose, and it is not for someone that is in general healthy. So I feel like menopause is something that's pretty near and dear to me since I've worked with a lot of women that are going through that. My mom went through menopause, and I've worked with a lot of women that have chilled me out of a room from having the air conditioning so high.
Oh, that's funny.
But I think the real struggle is, like you're saying, I don't want to be older. Mm-hmm. And again, that's a mindset that I'm going to attribute it to the Western culture again, because there's a lot of other cultures that celebrate the older stages in life, and those are your golden years. That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
And it's not a time to wind down necessarily and think, now I'm on my way to the nursing home, because that doesn't have to be your reality. Okay. This is a new phase in life. This is something to embrace and to be celebrated and to grow your way into. And that's something that I've been working with a lot lately, is not treating things like a crisis or a disease, but treating it like a period of growth and something to move into. So you're moving into this new state in life, which we're calling perimenopause. Let's see how we can embrace what's happening in your body. So the big thing, not even just for menopause, but anything, is I would teach you to be mindful about what you're feeling, when you're feeling it, and keeping more of a dialogue between you and yourself to find out where is this imbalance coming from? Because you can, as you're evidenced of, you can have menopause without having all of the symptoms that a lot of women experience. You were talking about how you have a really good diet and you attribute that to keeping down your symptoms, and that is absolutely true. That's all going to start from your mental state, because if we are organized mentally, that is going to reflect in what we're eating, what we're putting into our body, what we're drinking. If we are all chaotic and crazy up here, what are we going to start eating? Are we going to be eating a lot of fast food on the run? Are we going to be eating a lot of comfort foods that are high in carbs and high in sugar, which will contribute to hot flashes and mood swings because your sugar levels are going like this? So that's where I would start, is just the mindfulness and trying to see, where are you mentally that is now manifesting into these symptoms?
So if my mental state is chaotic, then I'm going to gravitate toward more chaotic food sources.
Yes.
So the root cause is what I'm hearing you say in all of this: autoimmune deficiency, hormone imbalance, all of that is, in any chronic illness, adrenal issues, is the mental state.
It's your mind. It is your mind.
Wow.
And it is your spiritual body.
Okay.
Whether you want to be spiritual or not, it's there. And that reflects, because it's a higher frequency, it's a higher state that's going to start reflecting in those lower fractals, which is our physical body.
Right.
So yes, like is going to attract like. If you're putting out chaos, you're going to be taking in chaos. You're going to be eating chaos. You're going to be speaking chaos. But once you find that order, and it can be very simple. It seems really hard, to change your mind on something. I know we've all been...
Change your mind. Okay.
We have those moments where we're frustrated, especially if it's something you've been dealing with a long time. And I've had an autoimmune condition. There are a lot of times where I'm frustrated and I'm like, I'm not going to be healthy ever again. I can't accept that. But it really is just as easy as getting quiet for a minute and just saying, I am.
Oh.
I am. Because you are. You are healed. You are love. You are light. That's just how it is. And you have to accept that. And then those boundaries start breaking down, because it reminds me of our conversation that we had last week about, all these things: fear, disease, unhealth, evil. It's just in our minds.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. What exists is the truth, which is love. It is light. It is perfection. It is peace.
Yeah.
And that's what we can manifest, and that's what we can choose to manifest. It's a decision that we can make moment by moment
I love it.
to change.
I feel so good when you say that.
Yeah.
I just like the frequency is rising. I feel like levitating. If we start to rise above, in our chairs, you'll know.
Yeah.
I love that. So focus our attention on the perfection we already are, the love that is always here and that is really the only thing that's here.
Yes.
Rather than identifying with a condition that isn't really us.
Yeah.
I mean, if we focus our attention and identify, like if I keep identifying with something that, I mean, if I had continued to identify with this disease of menopause, then I probably would have created a disease, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I see that frequently. I've seen it in my own life as I was working through my own healing journey and doing the symptom spotting, as everyone likes to do, and Googling my symptoms and everything. And
which is, I think, all those things on the internet are written by the pharmaceutical companies.
Most of them, yes.
That's what I've heard.
They are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, it's where are you putting your attention? Where is your attention going? Is your attention going toward symptom spotting? What are you watching on TV? Are you watching too much TV? Because really you don't need any. So.
Which every other commercial is a pharmaceutical ad, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So what are you identifying with? Because you're going to identify with what you're putting around you. So what I would do too is with any client I have them look around their life and see where are, and I love this term you use, the chaotic nodes in my life.
Yeah.
And, even in your own home, is there objects that maybe are holding you to a past that wasn't pleasant, and that's dragging you down spiritually and mentally? Are there situations, are there people? What are you holding on to that's dragging you down? What are you putting your attention toward? And then change it.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I love it. It's simple, but maybe not always easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you're focusing on this disease that your
Right.
doctor told you that you're going to get.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I said hogwash and said,
I am so
you know what I
glad you
said to
did.
her in my early 40s? I said, because I just come back from this health spa, and they said, don't take those, not artificial, what were they? Different kinds of hormones. Some are the synthetic, and then the other are more natural. So I was like, well, I think I'll take the natural. So I told my physician, I'm not going to take those synthetic hormones. We just learned blah, blah. And she said, just don't believe everything that you read, Lisa, about all this.
Yes.
And I said, well, don't believe everything the pharmaceutical rep told you when she just came in. And she's like, okay, fair enough. This was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so maybe I was a forerunner to some of this.
Yeah.
But at least I took charge of my health, even though in other aspects of my life I was totally hook, line, and sinker of the mainstream media. But I knew I had control over my own body.
Yeah.
Maybe it starts with that, to know we have control over our own body.
Yeah, it's accepting that you are in control, and it's being okay with little progresses. There's something really interesting I heard lately is the difference between goals and projects.
Oh, okay.
And a goal is something where if you have not achieved that goal, you're failing.
Okay.
A project is something where you're continuously working on it and you haven't failed until you've decided I'm not going to work on it anymore. So, for instance, my goal could be to cure myself of an autoimmune condition without synthetic hormones. Well, until I am cleared and all my levels are normal, I am failing if that's my goal. If that's a project for me that I'm going to work toward on a longer term, and I'm not going to give it a time limit, I'm not going to put any restrictions on it, I'm just going to work toward it every day, then I have not failed until I decide I'm going to the hospital, I'm taking my thyroid out, I'm done with it, and that would be my failure. So again, I think it's accepting the progress that you make and not focusing so much on, I haven't gotten where I thought I would be yet, and so, why do I bother anymore?
When you were saying that, I had a visual in my mind that I was walking up a long stairwell that had no ending, except that I had this artificial goal in mind. health and wellness, no autoimmune deficiency or no menopausal issues or whatever. And if I'm at the bottom of that stairwell, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's a long journey up there. But what I'm hearing you say is accept where we are right now and enjoy each step and not beat ourselves up if we're not progressing the way as fast as we think we should.
Right.
But to enjoy the progress we have made at each step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something that I've been realizing too, is that it can be exciting. It doesn't have to be frustrating. It doesn't have to be scary to heal from something. It can be a really exciting journey of self-discovery, of finding things that you never knew you were good at or you enjoyed, like learning how to cook for yourself, or if you're on a really restricted diet, to learn how to make the things that you used to love in a way that you're able to eat now. So just being excited about how strong the human body is and what it's capable of accomplishing, no matter how sick you are, that there's always going to be those little victories throughout the day that you can celebrate. And it has to be, like I said, a moment by moment attention toward those things, toward, the fact that you can breathe freely, or the fact that you can walk around, or you can say words, or you can think, or you can see, and all of those little things that we take for granted that we're able to do, but they're huge. They're amazing things that we can do.
So it is a step-by-step process to go from the chaotic modality to the order modality, where you come in, which is such a service as a certified health coach. And I know you offer on, again, Richter, Richter, healthandwellness.com, you offer a couple different programs, a 3-month or a 6-month. If I'm coming to you for this chaotic menopausal situation where, it's like affecting everything, my sex life, my job, every day I'm just focusing on this disease, how are you going to turn that around for me and get me thinking about step-by-step progress? And what would you suggest? I'm coming in now and saying, help me, what do I need what do I need? Tell me what I need.
Yeah. So I would say for just about anybody, I'm going to recommend the 6-month program, just because there's a lot of science behind how long it takes to build those healthy habits. And I want to give you a longer time frame to make those changes.
Okay.
And so I have the smaller scale. I have a 3-month, and I also have a 30-day that's kind of just like a reboot program. And those are effective if you kind of just are unfamiliar with what I do and you maybe want to get a taste for what's available. Or financially, maybe you're not in a place right now to make that full 6-month commitment, then we could do the smaller 3-month, which is effective, and it's going to teach you some basics. But the 6-month, especially for those phases in life, those growing phases of menopause or fertility that are the kind of bigger sources of chaos, I would recommend the 6 months, because that's going to give you time to have patience and learn to build slowly over time rather than rushing to do it all in like a 30 or 60 day period. And then it's also going to give you a better chance at making habits that are going to last a lifetime. So a lot of the clients I'm working with now, they've been on the yo-yo diets and they've been on these fads where they do well for a little bit and then they plateau, or they get frustrated, or they forget about it and they drop off again. Well, I'm not interested in a small, short-term progress. I'm interested in developing habits that are going to last a lifetime. So, yeah, I feel like the 6 months, just from my experience, has been something that's really beneficial for those bigger areas of chaos to build the lifelong change.
And I guess if I'm coming to you, I'm already seeking help and open to help, and maybe even a little bit feeling worthy enough to get healthy and have wellness. I mean, or I wouldn't have approached you to begin with. And the viewers, I think that's the key. We deserve to be healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, and a 6-month commitment, if I feel deserving of it, which that's the hurdle I think a lot of us have to get over, is I deserve to be healthy, and I can spend a little bit of money. It's not a whole lot on a 6-month program or even a month program to get a taste, because I deserve it. And everybody's budget. If we really want to commit to this health and wellness, we can find the money and the time for this. And what's so great about you as a health coach is I'm accountable to you. You know, like I am handing over to you a little bit to get my life back in order. So I'm putting a burden on you where eventually I'm assuming at the end of the 6th month, now the burden is on me to maintain that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I just think this is so important. You know, your services are going to be more and more demanded. And you have, you know, you kind of cover the gamut of young to old and everything in between. So I encourage you all to get a hold of Jackie. I mean, look at her demeanor. And you don't force us to go on a certain diet.
Oh, no,
right?
no,
Okay.
I am. If you are looking for someone to put you on a diet, I am not the right person to come to.
But you look at what we're doing.
I do.
Okay.
So I love what you said about, you know, what we deserve. And something that I tell my clients on their first visit is to take a moment and thank yourself for showing up, for being here, that you've decided I've made this decision for myself, that I want to get to the root cause of why I'm feeling this way, and just be appreciative for yourself, because that's where a lot of that internal chaos comes from, is the self-condemnation and the feeling like we are less than worthy, that we don't deserve this because of X, Y, and Z. And it's not true. It's not true about any of us, no matter what our background is.
Right.
And no, I'm not one that's going to put someone on a specific diet. I firmly believe that everybody's body is so unique. I was looking at pictures of snowflakes the other day and, and thinking about how unique all of us are. And there's not a one size fits all for anybody. So I'm more interested on, you know, through the being mindfulness, what feels best for you.
Right.
And so if you have someone that's on the ketogenic, which is, you know, the high fat, no carb diet, and they're getting sick and they're feeling worse, well, eat a piece of fruit. I'm not going to tell you that you can't eat a piece of fruit on the ketogenic diet. I will say that I don't trump what a medical doctor is going to prescribe to somebody. I don't treat or diagnose any symptoms, or I can't diagnose any disease, but I can work with your healthcare providers, which is something I offer in the 6-month program that I haven't really seen anybody else offer, is that I will get with your other healthcare providers, massage therapists, energy workers, and bring everyone together for your best benefit. Instead of feeling like, you know, my therapist is telling me this, and my naturopath's telling me this, and this guy's telling me this. I'd like to get us all together as a team with you at the forefront, and we're going to figure it out together with everyone working together. And I think that's the way that it should be, and that's how it should be presented, instead of a challenge or a competition between professionals. I don't belittle anyone, regardless of, you know, Western or Eastern medicine. I think it can all function properly together.
I love that.
So that's something that I would offer with a 6-month program.
I love the collaboration rather than the competitive part of it. Like, my way or no way. That doesn't jive anymore with you guys, the young people especially. So if I had come in to you with these menopausal issues and you recommend the 6-month, what all does that entail, Jackie? What would I be able to get from that 6 month? I mean, what do you offer in the 6-month program?
So the 6-month program,
aside from the collaboration with the healthcare practitioners I have, I love that.
Yeah, I offer, and I always start out, I offer a lot of free services, just because I do this as a way to sustain, you know, my own financial situation and everything. But I do it mainly because I love it and because I want to help people. Right. So I offer a lot of free services. The big one being any kind of communication between us outside of sessions is always free. So if we're sending emails back and forth, or you need a text every other day to say, hey, you're doing a great job, I'm here for you. That's nice. You know, that's totally on the house. I also have a journal that I give all of my clients that allows them to write down what they're eating throughout the day. But beyond that, it's also going to go into how are you feeling before, during, and after eating.
Do you see that journal? Do I share that journal with you?
You can, if you don't want to. You don't have to. It's a little easier if I do kind of have an idea.
It helps, doesn't it?
Of where things are, but that's totally up to you if you want to keep it as a private journal or have a section of it.
Do I really have to tell you I've had 3 Big Macs over the last 24 hours?
I think, again, that comes down to the accountability, and that's what I'm here for. So, and that might be something where you get in the McDonald's line and you think about, I'm going to have to tell my health coach this later, so maybe you won't get as much as you would have.
Maybe I'll just drive on by today.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Trying to think what else. So I start off everything with...
So free texts, free emails, phone calls in between, or... You have the phone calls. You have like a...
We have a longer session.
Okay.
If we want to do like a shorter, what I call just check-ins or accountability check-ins, you know, if I'm going to call you for 5 minutes, that's just included. The
free
things
for
that...
free, but
yes,
I have like
free.
a 30-minute once a week?
Yes.
Okay.
So the bigger ones, we start out with your consultation, which I do offer a free 15-minute phone consultation first, if you prefer.
Nice.
And then we'll do a longer, I found it's usually between 75 minutes to 90 minutes to do the initial consultation.
Okay.
That's going to go over anything you've got. If you have blood work, I want to see the blood work. I want to see anything else your doctors have sent you.
Okay.
I'm going to look at your health history, family history, all the things you would normally look at with a doctor.
Okay.
And from there, we'll start building a plan.
Okay.
So then we have the nutrition and lifestyle session, which is kind of included in that. We might write that over into another session, and that's going to look in depth at your lifestyle. Where is that mental and emotional state, and how is that reflecting into your eating habits, your sleeping habits, things like that. Then from that point on, for the rest of the 6 months, we'll meet pretty much on what's available for you. So if you want to meet once a week, every other week, twice a week, then we'll kind of work out what's a good schedule, and those will be between like a 30 and a 45-minute either phone or in-person consultation.
And all of that for the low cost of, have you broken it down like what it would be per week on your, it's like the full cost, if you were to pay it all in one fell swoop is?
I don't remember.
I thought I read somewhere it's definitely under $1,000. It's and so this is a whole 6 month. I mean you're putting in by an hourly rate is very small.
Yeah.
And then for a 3 month, it's even a lot less. And then your 1 month is a lot less.
Yeah.
And then to start it all off, you just get with you for 15 minutes just to see if take a little snippet for free.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, I have the free consultation, and then everything can be broken up into, I have payment options.
Right.
So we can do monthly, bi-weekly, whatever works best for you, but I can get it anywhere, under $100 per payment if you want, or you can just do a lump sum, and that's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. So I'm sure your prices fluctuate over time, but I still feel like what a bargain. I mean, we could go out and over 6 months, I mean, if we tallied up how many Starbucks lattes or whatever, we're spending a lot of money on that kind of thing. If we learned different habits, that, like, I don't really feel like even though I do all organic, which is more expensive up front, because I've changed, I don't drink anymore. I've cut out a lot of high cost items in my diet.
Yeah.
Going to a restaurant or fast food does add up.
Right. Even
though it may seem very inexpensive in that moment. If you're buying and cooking for yourself or preparing for yourself, it's a lot cheaper.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to do it. A lot of people get scared by, I don't know how to cook, or I don't have the time to do this for myself.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of tips to help someone in that situation to learn how to shop, how to prepare meals for yourself, and simple, easy snacks and meals that you can do yourself at home.
So you're the go-to for everything here. I mean, help. I mean, yeah. Oh, I love it, Jackie. Anything else you want to add, and also remind people where they can find you? Sure. Anything else that we may have left out that is very important in your practice?
Well, I would say the biggest one that comes to mind for me is just my desire for everyone is to find that natural homeostasis. And for me, when I looked at my diagnosis of Graves' disease and an autoimmune condition, when you look that up online, the treatment for that is radioactive iodine to burn out my thyroid, or it's surgery to remove my thyroid, and then I would be on synthetic hormones the rest of my life. And I broke down over that many times, thinking, I don't want that to be my life.
Right.
Reading
so you
about,
didn't do any of that?
I did not. No, I have a thyroid.
You still have a thyroid, and you're not taking the synthetic stuff?
I don't take any synthetic.
No iodine?
Nope. No.
Wow.
I do it all naturally, and it's managed. So
you look great.
Thank you.
You have lots of energy. I mean, look at her. Okay, this is awesome.
Yeah. So, and that's what I want for everyone. I've seen people that have gone through having their thyroid removed, and it's heartbreaking. Yeah. And there's a lot of fertility issues tied in with that as well. So I just want to be a living example for those people that it is possible, and it's not only possible, but we can do it together. It's it's a better option for you overall, and it does cost less in the long run, because if you're going to the emergency room for the thyroid removal, that's going to cost a lot more than a couple Starbucks drinks.
Right,
a week,
and a lot of young people today can't really afford the healthcare insurance.
No.
Because you're young and healthy, you're going bare. Mm-hmm. And so I get you on that.
Yeah.
Wow. So again, can you share with the audience your Richter Healthcare and Wellness?
Yes.
I'm sorry, healthandwellness.com, but say it again.
Yeah. So my website is richterhealthandwellness.com. It's RICHTER. If you visit the services page, which is linked at the top, that's going to show you everything I provide, along with a breakdown of all the costs. I don't hide any of my costs. Everything's very transparent on my site. You can connect with me through Facebook. I don't have anything else because I'm not very good at social media. I do have my phone number on there, and I love to meet people in person. So, if we're doing a 15-minute phone consultation, or you want to go out to lunch, I just love people. And
and that shows. I mean, you just emanate this purity, this pureness, this wellness.
Yeah.
I love it. I love your story, and I love how you're helping people. And you started, you just embarked on this beautiful career, and it's just going to keep blossoming.
Thank you.
Love it. So thank you, Jackie, so much for joining us at Dreams for Society and imagining and visualizing and creating this health and wellness for us and everyone.
Thank you.
And Namaste. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.